Today, we're diving into a really powerful concept from Ben Stopford's work on event-driven systems. It's all about a simple yet massive shift in perspective that helps us build software that's way more scalable, resilient, and just better. Let's get right into it. So let's start with a question that probably keeps a lot of engineers up at night. You've spent months, maybe years, building this huge, complex system with dozens of microservices, but it still feels like a house of cards, right? One little hiccup in some forgotten corner, and suddenly the whole thing can come crashing down. Why does that happen? Well, as Sam Newman puts it so well, a huge part of the problem is the shared database. For decades, this was just how we did things. It seemed efficient. But when every single service is tied to the same central data structure, making any change becomes this super high-risk surgery. It locks everything together and makes the entire system incredibly rigid. And what you end up with is this fragile web. Services are all calling each other directly, or they're all hitting the same database. The whole system becomes tightly coupled. So if one service slows down, everything slows down. And if one service fails, yeah, you know what happens. It's basically a recipe for those 3 a.m. emergency pages that absolutely no one wants. To fix this, we need a really fundamental shift in how we think. The old way is all about services constantly pulling data from a central place, asking what's the state right now? It's just a snapshot. The new event-driven way flips that script entirely. The system pushes facts out into a stream as they happen, creating this living, evolving history. And that simple change is what takes us from a fragile world to a much more resilient, loosely coupled one. And this brings us to the core idea, the big aha moment of this whole approach, turning the database inside out. Seriously, think about that. Instead of data being this static thing locked away in a box that we have to go and ask for, we reimagine it as a continuous broadcast of facts, a stream of events that anyone can listen to. This one idea, it changes everything. So what is an event stream, really? Just think of it like a journal or a logbook. It's an unchangeable, ordered list of facts about things that have happened. Order created, payment processed, user logged in. Each one is a little nugget of truth, and once it's written down, it can't be changed. This stream becomes the central nervous system of your entire application. It's the one and only source of truth. Okay, so that's the big idea, but how do we actually build systems this way? Let's break down the core building blocks that make this whole event-driven architecture work. First things first, we've got to be really precise with our language. A command is a request. It's asking the system to do something in the future, like process payment. An event, on the other hand, is a statement of fact. It says something has already happened, like order created. It's just an announcement. It never expects a reply. And a query is the simplest of all. It's just asking for some information. Getting this distinction right is absolutely crucial. Now, the physical heart of this kind of system is the log. You can think of it as a kind of superpowered append-only file. It's this durable, replayable journal where all our events get stored. And technologies like Apache Kafka have basically perfected this concept, distributing the log across tons of machines so it can scale like crazy and survive failures. The log is what makes our event stream a real, tangible thing. And if the log is the heart, then stream processing is the brain. This is a totally different style of programming. Instead of our code just sitting around waiting for data to land in a database so it can query it later, our applications are always on, always listening. They continuously react to and transform these event streams in real time as the events are actually happening. So with these pieces in place, how does it actually change how services interact? Well, it moves us away from a model where services are bossing each other around and towards one where they collaborate by sharing facts. Let's walk through a classic example. A user places an order, which creates our first event, order requested. The order service, which is listening for that kind of event, sees it, does its validation magic, and then emits a new event, order validated. Now, the payment service doesn't care about the first event, but it's listening for order validated. It sees it, processes the payment, and emits its own fact, payment processed. Finally, the shipping service sees that event and kicks off the delivery. See? Each service is totally independent, just reacting to the facts it cares about. And this is a really important distinction. This is choreography, not orchestration. In orchestration, you have a central conductor telling every musician exactly when to play. Here, in a choreographed system, each dancer knows their own moves and just reacts to the music and the other dancers. No single service is in charge. And that makes the system incredibly flexible. You want to add a new fraud detection service? Easy. You just have it listen to the same events. You don't have to change a single line of code in the existing services. So once you really lean into this event-driven mindset, it unlocks some seriously powerful patterns for building systems that are not only robust, but also completely auditable. Okay, here's a wild way to think about it. What if you had version control, like Git, but for your entire business's data? Every single change, every transaction, saved forever as a commit. And you could rewind time to see exactly what the state of your business was at any point in the past. Well, that's basically what event sourcing is. Event sourcing is simply the practice of making that event log our permanent, undeniable record of everything. We store every single state change as an event in that log. So if you need to know the current status of a customer's order, you don't look it up in a database table. You just replay its history of events. Order was created, then validated, then paid for, then shipped. The current state is nothing more than the sum of its history. So why does this matter so much? Well, for one, you get a perfect, comprehensive audit log basically for free. If a bug creeps in and messes up your data, you can fix the code, rewind the log to a point before the bug hit, and simply replay the events to automatically fix the corrupted state. It makes the event stream not some mutable database, the true source of truth. And maybe most importantly, it lets us answer why our system is in a certain state, not just what that state is. Now, once you fully commit to event sourcing, you almost naturally end up at another powerful pattern called CQRS. It sounds super complex, but the idea is actually really simple. You just separate the part of your system that handles writing data from the part that handles reading it. They become two different things. And this is where it gets really cool. Your write side has one job, and one job only. Capture facts as events and slap them onto the log as quickly and reliably as possible. That's it. Then your read side can listen to that same stream of events and build out whatever data models it needs to serve users. You can create multiple specialized views. One could be a search index, another could feed an analytics dashboard, another could be a simple key value store. Each one is perfectly tailored for its specific job, all from one single source of truth. So when you pull all of this together, what do you get? You get a system with some pretty incredible benefits. Because your services are decoupled, you get massive scalability. Because they don't have those tight, synchronous dependencies, you get amazing resiliency to failures. And because you can add and change services without breaking everything else, you get true evolvability, the power to adapt and grow your system over time without fear. And that really leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending thought. By treating this flow of events as the central asset of your entire business, you are creating a durable, replayable, and undeniable record of everything that has ever happened. So just think about it. What could you build if you knew you could always rewind, replay, and rebuild your entire business from that single stream of truth?